Hi, it's been a long time since I put a video together, but our recent events over the last 6 months has caused me to do so. I like to talk about the country I grew up in. The country that I grew up in they had prejudices, but they were minor in nature. Minor in nature in that I refer to someone as a Guinea or an Irish bastard or a Puerto Rican or a German or a Jew, but they were minor in nature. They were just things that you would say if I got in an argument with somebody that was short and fat. I would say, you little dumpy thing. It's just a way where you got to the point of where you were expressing your anger, but nothing like today's prejudices. The country I grew up in, our borders were safe. We never had to worry about people coming over our borders and bringing drugs into the country. Our country was respected, and it was feared for its strength. Not that we would abuse it, but it was feared for its strength. We all knew how to respect the rights of others. Our government had term limits. All our politicians had term limits. We had many nationalities, but they coexisted. Now, we do have more nationalities today. The deficit of the country was minimal, and our government functioned. Not at 100%, they always had their political problems, but nothing like today. Our armed forces were powerful. We had the draft. We kept teenagers off the streets. We basically helped train them how to grow up, and we gave them the opportunity to take courses when they come out of the draft to learn a business or a tool. We had minimal drug problems. Our laws were enforced and respected. We had legal immigration processes, and we didn't have many illegals. And we had benefits for U.S. citizens. Now, when we had benefits for U.S. citizens, if you received welfare or you received food stamps, it was frowned upon for someone to receive these benefits. And everybody expected everybody else to be independent. And we had no civil war. The only war I lived through was the Vietnam War. And that was an unfortunate war that had many casualties. And in my opinion, that war was not necessary. And all it did was help the rich get richer and killed and maimed many of our armed forces. So the country of the past I was proud of. It was a country that functioned. We had our problems. Now, what happened since I was a teenager is over the years, we got more immigrants allowed in. We raised the limits. We got more mixed cultures, meaning we got people from all different countries coming in now. From the Middle East, from Africa, more from Mexico. And what we did was we continued to have our borders open where people were sneaking in illegally. And people were less respectful. They didn't respect the rights of others. That's what happened over time. And then our politicians did the best thing that they could ever do for themselves. They voted on no term limits so they could run forever. So what you got is all the cronies staying in power, collecting a lot of benefits. And they also voted where they don't have to receive the same benefits that we do. So they got a better insurance plan. They get paid more money. They got a better retirement package. And guess what? Our debt over the years has just quadrupled. We are more in debt now than we ever were. And basically our government become dysfunctional. Not functional, dysfunctional. Meaning we had two parties before, but our parties functioned somewhat. Now our parties don't get along, and when they run for office, they're downright nasty. It's become a street fight with words. They tell lies. They talk very nasty about people, and oh yes, and we eliminated the draft. So what we ended up with is more teenagers on the streets getting in trouble. Our crime has increased. The number of people on drugs have increased. And our politicians found new ways to obtain votes by skirting the law and working through the loopholes of the law or being underhanded about the way they get votes. And what we do have is less enforcement of our laws. That's what happened over time. Over time, our country become weaker. Our borders become open. We did not follow the laws or enforce the laws, and our country become dysfunctional. Now, the results of all that is we got minimal law and order. Our government is totally dysfunctional. All they do is argue, debate, tell lies, go on TV, anything that they can do to stay in power, because all they're worried about is staying in power. So they could take more money and more benefits. And they really don't care about we the people. We got our largest deficit ever. Our drug problems have increased. It's an opioid epidemic. We have many, many underhanded methods to win elections. You know, like you go to the delegates, you got the super delegates, you got somebody who wins delegates, but yet when the people go there to announce the delegates, they change their mind. The whole process is a disaster. And instead of giving benefits to just citizens, now we give benefits to non-citizens. So what this did was the people in the other countries become smart. They said, look at the United States. We can go over there. We can get benefits. We can sneak across the border. And we could start a new life. And these dummies would just keep paying us. That's not the way it was in the country I grew up in. In the country I grew up in, you had to earn your benefits. And it was frowned upon if you were receiving freebies. Today, it's a norm to receive freebies. Our armed forces, all our services got weaker. You know, our weapons deteriorated. Our budget was cut. So we lost respect and were feared less around the world. And the immigrants from the other countries have totally taken advantage of our weaknesses. And guess what? Our politicians, for some reason, have all these people, these immigrants, brainwashed that it's the Democrats who protect these people. So therefore, the Democrats fight for them just to get votes so they can stay in power. In my opinion, they don't care about the immigrants. Law and order is just not enforced, and then we come up with a new thing. Now we got sanctuary cities, we got sanctuary states. So what we do is we allow these criminals to come over here. We allow all these people to go to areas where nobody can touch them. The police can't go in there. We got the mayors protecting them. We got politicians protecting them. So what you did was you created zones for people to come into this country illegally and perform illegal functions. And what they do is they fear the people that live with them so they won't speak out. They actually terrorize them. So I'm not very, very happy about the way the country is today. Our entitlements are way out of control. It's 60 to 70% of our budget, which is way out of hand. And the politicians, the only thing they care about is what's their personal gain. Politicians themselves don't follow the laws. They find loopholes. They divide the country. Our press, our newspapers, our TV stations have all become political. You go to one station and you think you're in world A. You go to another station and then you're in world B. Nobody reports the news the way it is. They all stick in their influence or what they want you to believe. It's sort of like a brainwashing technique. And the only thing that's happening is our politicians are getting richer and they get better benefits. Well, my opinion of that is anything that pertains to our politicians, whether you get term limits, pay raises, benefits, vacations, none of that should be decided by the politicians. That should be decided by the people. And the people should have the right to vote on that. And to do that, we need a constitution change. And what we're in now is a political civil war. That's what we're in. And all these people, all they do is create rumors, create stories. All Washington does is investigate the Russian thing, investigate Hillary. They're on TV for themselves. When are they doing the work? Why can't they come up with a rational, legal immigration plan to make everybody happy? It's not that impossible. It seems like something I could do in a day. So all you got to do is to list all the problems and then start to work down the list on what's the best compromise. Forget about your votes. That's what has to be taken out of this. It's all about power and votes, and they don't focus on the real issues. Oh, and I did forget to mention that our judges and our court systems have become corrupt. Like, for instance, when we nominate someone to the Supreme Court, we now have a 5-4 in favor of the conservatives. So that means that if an issue comes up to the court, everybody expects the conservatives to win 5-4. Well, that's not what our Supreme Court was about. Our Supreme Court was to get judges in there who are impartial and will do the right thing for the right reasons, not the right thing for their party. So our court systems are corrupt. Our appointment of judges are corrupt. You'll get a liberal judge who'll side with Obama's way. You'll get a conservative judge, he'll side with Trump's way. We need neutral judges. And if you don't have neutral judges and you don't have laws that are enforced, and you have mayors and governors working against the federal laws by creating sanctuary cities and sanctuary states just for votes, now you're destroying the country. So I just wanted you to know that I'm fed up with the way the country is today. I'm happy with the way it was, even though some things have improved. But many, many people around the world have come to this country and abused it, and it has to stop. Thank you.